This one's for the women and the girls that are yet to be. No joke. No joke. Something just came up, so I looked it up. And Victoria brought it up. She said, look it up. She said, look it up. It wasn't until 1988, 1988, that a woman could own a business in the entire United States. In the United States, she couldn't own a business till 1988. Wow. I was a very young adult, an 18-year-old in the United States Army, a young adult at that time. That never crossed through the news to me. Why would it? The thing that strikes me is that at that time, in my mind, as someone who's been here 18 years, you don't even consider that they don't allow them to do this. You think, what is the problem? Where is the mess? But they didn't allow a woman to be a business owner until 1988. Then Victoria asks me another question. She's like, well, ask what year women were allowed to avoid being raped by their husbands in the United States. I mean, I remember in the early 70s, in my first few years, literally like 3 or 4, my mother got her GED diploma. She was going to school at the time. I don't just remember her getting the GED. I remember her taking the night classes and coming home and my dad's anger. Because she was impregnated by him on what I consider, according to the math, to have been her 16th birthday. He was 21, I think at the time, maybe 22. She went back to get her GED to finish her schooling because she had to drop out of school because people treated her like a whore. That's what you get when you don't let your girl get an abortion. You get the stories coming back from school with her crying all the time while everybody calls her a whore because they know she's pregnant. The rumors have been validated. Credit card. That's the one that I was getting at. I'll get back to the marital rape later, or spousal rape. It's got both of them in the little headline of the paper. Credit cards. I remember seeing the Flintstones when Betty and Wilma got credit cards and they were running out of the front door and the music would play every time they were coming out. And they'd come out and they'd say, charge it. So they had their husband's credit cards. I looked at the time to see when the Flintstones were actually in the series on TV, and it was 1960 to 1966. So it wasn't until 1974 that a woman could get a credit card without a cosigner or her husband's permission. So they were still using their husband's credit cards on Fred and Barney, but that was 8 years before. You thought you were in the olden days at that time. It only took 8 years to get a woman a credit card of her own, to be able to be personally, individually, able to take care of their lives. Everybody needs a credit card now, right? And we think about this. That was 1974. "54 years ago," they say, which must have been 1970, because I'm 54, about ready to turn 55 in a couple of months here. So I think it must have been 1970 that they actually allowed a woman to make a decision whether she was going to have the baby of her rapist or her father or her brother or her uncle or who knows which, because they all had her in the barn, one after the other. That was 54 years ago. And we all think these are common things that people have a right to do, is to choose. And it helps the man too if she liked it and he was like, "I'm just trying to lose my virginity to the town pump," get an abortion and he can go on to college. People misunderstand the whole picture of what reproductive medicine is all about. It stops you before you need mental health care. So this is one more of those things that it just seems like, as a white male, I've known all along. I've said for at least 35 years and longer, I'm sure, I'm not proud of being a white man. I'm not proud to be Polish. I'm not proud to be anything. But sometimes, and there it is, we throw Polish and we have to add the next one. I'm not proud to be Catholic, whether renegade or not. These are all things. If you're a Polish Catholic in World War II, you got off light. It's not like you were a Jew or anything. See, that's how they do it. This is what I'm saying. I've never considered myself proud to be white, Roman Catholic, American man. I find it fortunate. And this great fortune that I've had, I've never really noticed the things that are taken from the women. I know they're being taken from everyone, but I don't think about the women because they're white too. But then you find out they couldn't have a credit card of their own until 1974. You find out they couldn't have a business of their own until 1988. You find out they couldn't even take care of their own bodies until about 1970, when it was time to take care of your body, whether it was to keep a child out of your future career or to keep your life on this planet, to take care of the children that you do have. It just shows you it doesn't take that long. That's not the right way of saying it. It shows you how long it took. It shows you that it hasn't been very long since these people who we don't even realize are being fucking punished because they don't talk about that on TV. These humans that we love and share an existence with, they're getting treated like shit. You should be ashamed of yourself. For me not knowing I should be ashamed, I am ashamed. It's wrong. And you see, this is the part when I say it doesn't take long to take it away, because they're working to take all those things away again. And voting, what, the 19th Amendment, whatever year that was, for women to vote, that was pretty early, actually. I don't know how that's the problem. They let them get away with sharing their opinions way too early. They should have tried the credit cards first to find out whether they were okay with them, whether they were, trustworthy with that sort of power. See, that's what people say. But you see how easy it is to take it away. It's a perfect time to take all these things away, because many of the people, they didn't pay attention when it happened to begin with, and many of these people weren't even alive when it began. They think about it and they're like, well, that was a long time ago. No, it's an example to you how quickly they will take things away after they give them to you, just so you believe everything's going to be okay, and then they take it away again. And so you get used to it. Well, I guess I had it good for a while. But I looked it up. It said 1976, and Victoria's like, no. Because I remember 1995, and she's saying it was more in the earlier 90s. And so I looked up, it said 1976, the spouse and marital rape thing was going on until 1976, as it said. It was okay in all states for a man to rape his wife. But as I looked into this, I'm not going to put it in there. If you want to check my citation, just say, when was it illegal to rape your wife? And it'll bring it up. It wasn't until 1993 that it became illegal in all states to rape your wife. And you want to think, okay, that's done. People are falling in line. Geez, that took a while. But you see how quickly they can take it away. They still don't want to let it go. I was driving through Texas in 1995, listening to Happy Morning Radio with like the Zoo type of channel with about 4 or 5 people, and they're going, and all of a sudden they broke into this conversation how they were bothered that women were able to accuse their men, their husbands, of rape. They were bothered by the fact that it wasn't okay for a man to rape his wife. This was 2 years after it became law, and they're still fighting it. You used to think, when people said, the South shall rise again, you would think, yeah, shit floats. But this shit has been drifting toward the surface ever since it was fucking crapped out of these United States. This one's for the women. You do not want to go back.